Welcome to Hollywood at Ovation. Today we have a special show dedicated to Superman the character, one of my very favorite characters. I literally grew up with this guy, and we are going to do a first movie review of Hollywood at Ovation with Jorge Amir, talking a little bit about Superman, the music, its legacy, the movie. So first, let's talk about Superman. This new Superman that stars David Cornsweet. And I saw this film twice so far. I might see it a third time. So I'm grading this film a B+. Why am I grading this a B+? Because in the order of my iconic obsessive self of Superman from 1978, starring Christopher Reeve, is the absolute best. It is the model by which other films have been following and create something new and original, but this by far reigns supreme to all of the Supermans. This is the one that made us believe that a man can fly. So from that, our next Superman, and I'm grading that one a 10 out of 10, and I'm giving it a 10-minute standing ovation. That's right, folks, 10-minute standing ovation. My next favorite Superman after that would be Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill does an absolute outstanding job bringing that bravado into a dark, real age. And that's what Superman, Man of Steel became. It was very real, and it made us believe also in Henry Cavill and what he can do. And he does some amazing work in Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. That's right. So let's get here to the new Superman. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And first of all, I want to make sure to emphasize how much I really liked it. I liked that it has a new iteration for a new generation of what Superman is. I mean, I did not grow up with this Superman, but this Superman is more of a comic book type of Superman. It has a comic book style to it. Whereas in Man of Steel and Superman have a very real side to it that we can appreciate, because that's what led us to believe that a man can fly. So for that, kudos to that Superman. For this Superman, to me, it almost felt like this Superman could be between high school, Smallville, and a young Superman, and the Christopher Reeve Superman, Henry Cavill Superman, because he looks just a tad younger, and his scenes at the Daily Planet, it seems like he could have just started, and he's just some young guy just getting his career started, and he's just very young looking, and that is the energy that he's bringing. The Man of Steel, Christopher Reeve, even though he was in his mid-20s, you know, he made us believe that this was the Man of Steel. Henry Cavill also brought us more of a very brave and a very gung-ho Superman that was all about truth, justice, and American way in his own fashion. And that worked as well. As a matter of fact, I love that one. And they did an exceptional job casting Henry Cavill. With David as well, David is a fantastic actor. I saw him in Ryan Murphy's Hollywood, and I absolutely recommend it if you haven't seen it. And he is a very good actor. However, I'm going to go for what I know, which is the Superman from Generation X, and that is Christopher Reeve's Superman, which is pretty much who I grew up with. And interesting enough, I even remember the movie theater where I saw Superman 1978. I saw this film in Panama in a single screen theater called Universal, Cines Universal. Back then, there were drive-ins and there were movie theaters, and most of the movie theaters were single screens until one came up that actually opened 2 screens, and that was quite different for the 70s, because most of the movie theaters were just one house, and that was it. And those movie theaters no longer exist, but you know what? The memories still live within me, and I appreciate my mom for taking me to go see this movie, because that actually led me to want to be a filmmaker and come into a career in entertainment. That to me was an eye-opening experience that I will never forget. So much so that I'm a huge, avid collector of anything and all things Superman. I mean, I've got the LP that came out in 1978. I have, yes, I do have, because I am a fan of Superman, so I had to get the David Cornswept version of Superman, and I do absolutely like it. And I will show you the contrast because I actually also have the Superman doll from 1978. And I'm going to contrast this for you right now. As you may see, they're now side by side. And interesting enough, there's a collector edition there for you. So I have them both and I'm very happy with them. I also have the soundtrack record, which was iconic back then, and I would listen to it all of the time. And there's something to be said about Superman's music that I really like from the 1978 version. It is very memorable, to me even more so than this latest Superman, because once that song plays, you know where it comes from and what movie it belongs to. That's right. That music is so memorable. Regardless of where you go, regardless of the country or anywhere in the world, you hear that music playing, you know the superhero that music is associated with. Also, I wanted to just share with you my Superman collection, and I've got as much as I have practically a whole shrine in Superman. You know, I've got from this Ultimate Collector's Edition to this amazing Superman posters. I was so privileged to meet Ilya Salkind, and he's executive producer of Superman, and also other members of the cast, which they generously actually signed these posters, which you're probably going to be seeing right now as I'm speaking. That is part of my memorable collection. I have an autographed, signed copy of the cast for all of those who actually helped produce the 40th anniversary of the 1978 Superman at the iconic TCL Chinese Theater. And this is the same place where Superman in 1978 premiered. That's right, at Grauman's Chinese. 40 years later, back in 2018, we actually now celebrated the 40 years of Superman with a screening. We had an autograph session for the actors, and we also even spent time with them, as you'll be able to see in this Q&A.
You know, this movie, as you've heard tonight, and as you see all around over the world, the appearances you made, has been so much for so many people. But what has been the thing that you've each taken away the most from being a part of the Superman universe and Superman legacy?
Well, I guess it is actually legendary, and you know, it's. I mean, you believe a man can fly. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
I took Jimmy Olsen. I'm kind of the reigning now Jack Larson. I got to meet Jack. It was in the 50s TV series. He was a great dude, and he told stories. I gotta say, you know, playing the character Jimmy Olsen, when you go through life and people find out you played Jimmy Olsen, it really makes them happy. So, what I took from the movie is Jimmy Olsen, and I'm so proud of the character, and I'm proud of being in this film, and I appreciate all you guys supporting it all these years, and it really is one of those iconic screen figures that will never go away. And Christopher Reeve, like Ilya was saying, I mean, no one's going to topple him. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be Ice Age kind of time. So, I'm really proud to be in this film.
You know, I took away the fact that deep down people really want to believe in something and have something to get together with everybody and share as a common core. Chris brought that. I don't think anybody else would have brought the world and generations together as he did. It's the only movie I know that really your kids, kids, parents, and grandparents can all watch it at the same time and enjoy it. We need more of that in the family. And also, I have two kids, and I think it's pretty darn cool that they can say, my dad's Superman, and be like, no, really, he is.
Yeah, I was proud when a fan just pointed out that I was the first superhero's first girlfriend. So that made me feel, oh, wow. But it's just, you know, it's a film about good versus evil and good winning out. And it's just marvelous to be a part of it. And I'm just, I really enjoy all the fans that are, I really get a lot of pleasure out of meeting the fans and appreciate you guys. So thanks.
You know, it's such a pleasure to be able to have been a part of something that gave so much to so many people and has done it from generation to generation. You know, it humbles a person down to understanding that you can do something that spectacular, that resonates as iconic. And thank you all for keeping it there.
What was it like for you the first time sitting in the movie theater, I assume at the theater, to see the movie for the first time? Especially, I want to ask about the first time that you saw Superman fly on the screen.
What's this stuff?
Well, Washington, D.C. was the place. Was Carter? Was it Carter? Yeah, Jimmy Carter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see it with him and his family, and just the big, you know, I forget where the location was, but it really was, the phone booth scene was pretty much, from then on, you're on the ride. And I thought it was really, first viewing, which is always for me, I got to see a movie a couple times to really kind of really get it, but this one, first time, was pretty tremendous.
You know, I don't, to be honest, don't really remember the first time where I was when I saw it. But what I do remember is being in awe of what I filmed and what I was pretending to see that cut in with everything. And seeing Superman fly, I just remember that instilled in me that I could really do this. I love this. This is something I could maybe do for the rest of my life, was acting. And then also just what Chris brought to it, the warmth, the kindness, that's what I wanted to emulate as a person too. So I remember what I got from it.
Jack?
No, you go ahead. Ladies before women.
I don't remember the first time I saw it. I remember the last time I saw it. I was, a film that I made as a filmmaker was in a festival that was honoring Dick Donner, and seeing it on a big screen after not seeing it for so many years was just astounding. I was really impressed by the special effects because they look real. They don't look, the computer generated CGI looks different. It's just, it is magical. And I was always impressed by Chris because he was a true superhero. The way he handled his tragedy and everything, he was the real thing. So it impressed me when I met him and talked to him. And you go, Jack. I just got back from Southeast Asia. I'm jet lagged.
First time I saw it was right here. In this theater here. It was the first time I ever saw it. And it was just, you know, I knew the film was great. I remember we were at Pinewood when Warner Bros. Was arguing about not finishing on time, and your father brought everybody in to see the fight scene over in the city. And Warner's couldn't take the money off their wallet fast enough. And I sat in that theater, watched the fight scene, and I said, wow, people are going to go crazy over this picture, because it's phenomenal. I mean, it was just so well done, so well choreographed, and just so well shot. I mean, Joffrey Answorth was a genius.
Yes, he was.
He was a super nice man. And his camera guy actually went on to be a great director.
And the special effects guy was a genius too. What was that guy's name? He was so good.
What's his little?
John.
No, Freeborn. Oh, Joe, special effects guy. He opened up a place in Canada actually.
Colin?
He won an Oscar for it.
Sword?
Yeah.
What was he?
Is it Sword villain?
Somebody, he was a super guy, nice guy. Yeah, nice man.
It's a good turnout.
It just was a great cast and crew. I mean, the people that came together on that film were just magic. You know, you do a film and you feel that. I mean, I was very fortunate that the first film I ever did was with Robert Mitchum, Farewell My Lovely. And we did a film for like $2.5 million that had 4 Oscar winners on the crew. You know, it was just people came out to work with him, and the chemistry. You could feel the chemistry, and I felt that chemistry with Superman. It was brilliant. That's why it's a great film.
I think we have time for, we'll do you back there, and then you. Ah, yeah. And then you, and you'll be the last one. So you.
I'm saying these guys over here have been dying for a question.
Okay, well.
Before he dies,
Right, go
ask
ahead.
Where is
Go
he?
ahead.
Did we lose him?
Oh, I think he's trying to.
He's up here.
Sorry, here you go.
Okay. So here's my question. I think it's amazing that Mario Puzo was part of the screenwriting process of this. And I have to ask, how did that come about? Coming off of The Godfather and everything, what was the draw to Superman? I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I started, I went to William Goldman.
The Godfather went and visited him.
Yeah.
I first started with William Goldman, and we even spent like 4 hours in a very big suite at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And after 4 hours, he says, look, very nice man. He says, look, I just, it's not for me. I just don't feel it. So I immediately called the front desk and I said, look, I want the most horrible suite you have, because obviously this big suite, it's not good. It didn't work out at all. And I want the worst, lousiest suite you have in the hotel. And so they gave me a horrible suite in the hotel. And that's when I had the idea, and I told my father was my partner, I said, look, why don't we, Goldman turned us out, why don't we go to Mario Puzo, who was after The Godfather, so he was at the top, he was at the top. So Mario came in the lousy suite and worked immediately. I mean, we had a great connection and very nice man. And he says, yeah, I want to do it. And that's how it started with Mario Puzo.
Okay, so back there, you? Yeah. Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superman.
My question is for Eric. Many people probably don't realize that you basically had a cameo in Superman 3 as the photo booth. You had Aspire returning after, what, 2 years? And what's that like for you?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it was great. And I was also in both Superman 2s, the Lester and the Donner, as a flashback scene. It was great. I was in Calgary. I was a young kid. I was kind of the go-to young acting kid in there. And so originally they didn't put the 2 and 2 together, but then when I auditioned, they saw it. That's actually the first time I met Chris. Was on that set, Superman 3 at the photo booth. And that lady, the lady that plays my mom, that's my mom, my real mom. And then, you know, the scene where they rescued a guy from the car after the fire hydrant, one of the rescuers was my dad. And then my brother was in another scene, but it got cut. So after being cut from Superman 1 and Superman 3, he's like, that's it, I'm done. But yeah, that's the first time I met Chris, and I remember shaking his hand and my hand disappearing into his because he was so big. And I just looked at him, you know, in awe. And it was great, it was wonderful. He was great, Richard Lester was great, and I still have that little photo that I ripped off at my house to this day.
Initially, but it was the first one, and that's very important.
It's been, I haven't seen Superman since it was VHS in the late 80s. Mark, when you got the role as the Jimmy Olsen, did you I mean, you know, when you get props and stuff, did you think about the Superman signal watch?
No.
Did you ever desire the Superman signal watch?
No, they just, the most important thing was the freckles. Remember, Stuart just made sure had those freckles. But the watch never was part of it, no. Today they would be, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we're going to take one more from the audience. Okay, well, let me get them first, and I'll get the next one.
You guys go, sorry, Levi, I just want to say something real quick to address that gentleman's last statement. And this may sound cheesy or whatever, we can make great films and have great producers and great actors, but those films only live on because of fans. So, my opinion is without the fans in anything, sports, music, you couldn't do what we do, or at least live like it's gone on. So thank you guys for keeping this going for 40 years.
I have a question about the editing of the film. So last year, Warner Brothers issued the 3-hour extended cut of this movie on Blu-ray, and it has like 50 minutes more footage in it than any other version. It was thought to be lost for a long time. And I was wondering, was that cut assembled before or after the theatrical that we're about to watch? And was Richard Donner involved with cutting that extended long cut for TV?
No, it's a good point.
I would say no.
No, he was not involved at all. We had somebody else, I can't remember the name now, who put it together. And we just used literally everything that was cut from the theatrical release. But that's about it. I mean, really, it was completely...
And that originally played over 2 nights, right?
Yes, it played over 2 nights, yes. And it was a very, very big rating. Very big rating. It wasn't a network, it was very big. I think it was ABC.
Get a little residual check on it.
I just wanted to ask, how was it to work with the legend Glenn Ford? Who was not a legal actor?
How was it to work with the legend that is Glenn Ford?
Nobody knows who that is.
Glenn Ford. Well, I didn't work with him.
Yeah. Do you have any memories of working with Glenn? Yeah.
It was great. I remember him being very, and I guess I didn't say this as a 3-year-old, professional. But it was on that scene where I had the bloopers, you know, after like the second one of it, he was like, okay, enough already, get this little kid out of here. But that's because he was so focused and professional, but he was still very kind to me. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I remember that, working with him.
Was it Glenn Ford or was it Jim Hackman who missed their wedding because it went on so long in Calgary because we were waiting? Somebody had to reschedule their wedding. I can't remember.
Maybe 3 times.
Did you want to address
It could have been his fourth, I guess.
Actually broke barriers in technology when we did the picture. And shooting Zorn's optic vision, wasn't it, Julia? That was a breakthrough in the industry, and it just carried. I mean, to see the fight scenes without wires and flying around buildings and under bridges and everything, it was the technology was brilliant.
I have a question for the audience. Does everybody remember where they were when they first saw the film? Yeah. How many, by hands? How many? I mean, 40 years ago. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. The fun part about the film is when you're younger, you know, and you go into a movie theater and you see something that changes your life. You were telling the story. You know, and Superman did that for so many people. And I think that's the greatest thing about film, is that you can change lives, you know, just in a moment of seeing certain images on the screen. And, you know, Chris really made you believe. And, you know, Donner did a great job, you know, making everybody believe that a man can fly, which is great.
CGI. I mean, if we would have had CGI, it would have been a joke to make him fly. But we did it with wires, with, all kind of systems. And today would have been much easier, much easier.
Great.
We interrupt this programming to make a special announcement to Mr. Ilya Salkind, executive producer of Superman, 1978.
Hi everybody, this is Deborah Moore, Salkind speaking. I'm recording this surprise message for Ilya's birthday. This coming Sunday, July 27th, will be his 78th birthday. And I'm going to send this to the owner of the All Things Superman podcast. So look out for it. Happy birthday, Ilya. Wishing you much love, joy, happiness, and good health. Love you. Your partner, Deborah. Hi, this is Deborah Salkind, and I want to take this opportunity to wish Ilya Salkind a very happy birthday. We are all so honored to be part of his journey and his life. Thank you, George, and a shout out to all the fans of All Things Superman who have supported the film over the decades. You, the fans, mean a lot to us. Thank you.
It was produced in '78. It's been quite some time. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's a pretty good movie. All right, thank you. Bye.